What was the scariest thing you have witnessed? I witnessed a motorcyclist wipe out on railroad tracks while trying to beat the train. He ended up pinned under his bike. I was terrified that I was about to watch someone get killed, but fortunately the train wasn't moving super fast and there was someone close enough to help him get off the tracks. Trying to save a man's life as he suffered a heart attack out in the cold in the parking lot where I work was pretty scary. He was a regular and we all knew him by name. The ambulance didn't get there in time. Man who fell into wood chipper and amputated his arm ran out into the street of my neighborhood and threw himself onto the hood of my truck screaming to call 911. How do you cope with depression without drugs? Exercise, healthy eating, satisfying hobbies, getting your shit together. Go outside, take a walk, listen to music or a podcast you might like. It mightn't fix you, but you could be surprised at the improvement. Sometimes getting up and moving works wonders. Staying physically active and setting small everyday goals. Small could be something like studying for just 15 minutes or even just putting some dishes away. Just a few tiny accomplishments throughout the day keep my mood up. Also trying to have some set routines that help me not to get sucked into the paralyzing spiral of apathy. What's a harsh reality that everybody needs to hear? Your life can be changed forever in the blink of an eye. You have to deal with it or die. I'm 62. I went to run errands one day with my beautiful wife of 42 years and I came home 2 hours later a widower. She died of a massive heart attack in the passenger seat. That was about 13 months ago. It's been hard, but I'm still here thanks to some wonderful people in my life. It won't just happen. I spent a lot of my early 20s being sad and defeatist, feeling sorry for myself. I always coped with this by telling myself that I'd make something of myself eventually, and meet a woman eventually, and be happy eventually. The truth is, eventually doesn't come if you don't make it come. Improvement has to be proactive. You can end up 40 years old, living with your parents, playing video games all day, and with no motivation. Nothing will prevent that from happening other than you. Failure is part of life. What's the fastest way to ruin a wedding? Propose. If someone gets engaged at my wedding, I'ma die at their funeral. That's a promise. Ultimate thunder steel. Announce out loud that you slept with the bride or groom, preferably whichever is the same sex as you. I'll do you one better. Announce you slept with both of them. My youngest brother made the following toast at the middle brother's wedding. This will be a great first marriage for the both of you. I thought my mother would kill him. What is probably the dumbest thing you ever did? Started smoking. Let's just do it without protection. Stole a bike. While skidding away, I chose to go as fast as I possibly could down an extremely long steep hill with a busy crossroad at the bottom, only to find that the bike had no brakes. Instant karma situation. What's a huge waste of money? Cigarettes, they kill you, and yet I just cannot stop. Anything having to do with MLMs. Spending money in video games. The cosmetics are of no use whatsoever and the cash we spend could be used on other important stuff. How is smoking not the top comment? People literally stay poor because of this insanely expensive and disgusting habit. At least you get cancer from smoking. That's more than you get from buying NFTs. Everyone has an addiction. What's yours? Do you know what a chocoholic is? That describes me, but with alcohol. Sounds like me. I'm a workaholic, but with alcohol. Nicotine. You really wish you never started, and if you haven't, never do. It feels good the first few times, but it's the long term that's hard. Breathing, I can't live without it. People who have survived attempted murder, how did it happen? How did you survive? I was shot at during an attempted carjacking. Car chase ensued. Police caught up to them. They skipped bail. FBI found them 4 states away 2 years later. 21-year sentence for both. Family member I lived with had a mental breakdown. I ended up being their caretaker. They were regularly violent with me and wouldn't take meds. One day they attacked me again and just didn't stop. I knew I was going to die if I didn't get out of there. Somehow I managed to get out from under them and I bolted. Left everything behind and didn't look back. A neighbor saw me and took me somewhere safe. I still have nightmares about it. What was the stupidest way you injured yourself? I fell nuts first onto a cactus. Dumbest, nearly broke my foot after I was startled by a squirrel. Most ironic, slipped and fell on a handicap ramp and ended up in a full brace and on crutches for 3 weeks, and using a cane for several months after that. So the handicap ramp handicapped me. Fork in a wall outlet. When I was like 4 or 5, I tried to iron the creases off my hand. What are the worst things about parenting? Your time is not yours anymore. No off days. Feeling tired or sick? You still need to take care of another human or humans. 100x harder when you have the flu or even a cold. Sleepless nights. First, it's they need to eat every 2 hours, and they start teething. Then the night terrors can start, then they wet their bed. Then they want to sleep in bed with you, etc., etc. When your child is sick, it is the most helpless feeling. What was invented by accident? The first artificial dye. The chemist was trying to make artificial quinine for treating malaria. He got lavender-colored dye instead. Penicillin. Alexander Fleming came back to his lab to find a mold had gotten onto one of his bacterial dishes. He noticed the mold had killed the bacteria. Polyvinyl chloride. Twice. In both cases, a chemist mixed together ingredients and put them in a sunny location. The mixture hardened into a plastic. The first guy wrote it down, but didn't tell anyone about it. The second one patented it. No one found a use for it until 54 years after it was first synthesized. Bandaging wounds. A French field surgeon had run out of coal to heat up his cauterizing irons, and all he had was strips of cloth, so he bandaged wounds instead of burning them. The bandaged patients had much better outcomes. What's a smooth way to break the ice? Shout fat penguin. When she looks at you all confused and asks why you said that, tell her just thought I'd say something that will break the ice. Moonwalk around the person, twirling as you go. Then casually flip your hat, kick your one leg out, grab your crotch and shout hee hee. I would probably say an ice pick or maybe a shovel. What is the greatest achievement of mankind? Writing in words to give us literature, recorded history, communication. Language. Pretty much everything else follows on from that. People don't understand just how ridiculously the internet on smartphones is. You carry around a magic glass brick that has all of human knowledge, can allow long-range instant communication with any other human, including the ones off-planet. You can acquire any service with it. It can be scribe, musician, accountant, and just a long list of jobs that for the majority of history were the middle and upper class. The new ones can provide wireless power for other devices. The list of how ridiculously amazing this just keeps going. I use it to look at silly cats.